Very beautiful women never get to experience the gift of wanting and not knowing if they're going to get, of chasing a man, right? Of actually of objectifying him. They almost never get to experience that. So if you can give them that gift, like they get to experience, aspects of the feminine which are really, really powerful. Proving that they are sexy, that they are the queen. Getting the guy that's not that easy to get. Trying to play games with him and realizing that he knows my games. And therefore, he's actually in control. Therefore, I get to be with an actually dominant male. Yeah, any more questions on technicalities of dates? When should you kiss her?
Yeah, for me, usually my dates last like, I don't know, 2-3 hours. And I escalate usually later in the day. Because
Yeah.
like, when I escalate, usually for them, they usually freak out. Or they are, I don't know, touch her on the leg. And she's like sitting like that. So I know it's uncomfortable to her.
Yeah.
And I felt like usually when I do this later, they are more relaxing the day.
Well, what I would say on that, yes, look, women have like escalation timescales, like how she wants to be touched and how much she wants that to increase. A vast difference between different women. But primarily it's that you want to think of this as, well, let me put it like this. When I go on a date with a woman, I touch her immediately, but it's subtle, right? So escalation, I think, isn't even the best word, because the connotation for that is like we have to increase intensity or something in order to get to a goal. Now, that is sort of true, but I don't view it like that. It's like, come over here. All right, so you were standing there waiting for me for the date. You're looking that way, right? So I see you, and I go, hey, how are you?
Hi.
So great to see you. Come here.
To see you too.
Give me a proper hug. All right, let me look at you. Wow, you look incredible. Shall we? There's a lot of touch in that first few seconds, and then I might not touch her again for some time, right? And then we get to the cafe, right? And so I say, oh, actually it's over here, right? And after you, there, through the door, right? So there was like the touch that we did the other day, or last night, running the hand down like I'm patting a cat, not the Ivan Plonk slide, right? This quality of touch, shall we? And then it's gone, right? That's escalation, right? Because what that is it's like a fleeting, very nice touch that is then gone before she even needs to really think about it. And it leaves her with tinglings and feelings of like, oh, wow, he knows how to touch women. And I've done a lot of post-sex interviews, right? So I talk to girls after sex, not always immediately afterwards, but some point afterwards. And I often ask that question, when did you decide you were going to fuck me? And I've had the answer multiple times, when you put your hand on my back, right? Or when you hugged me at the beginning, right? Or when you looked me up and down and like held my hands, right? She in her mind at that point, she was like, if he doesn't do anything weird, I'm fucking him, right? Because the quality of touch, my quality of touch is world class. I was a massage therapist for 10 years and I've had many touchings of women's. And I study Kung Fu and I'm loose and relaxed. And so when I touch someone, I know it's incredible, right? And that speaks volumes. That's why I'm like so fucking strict when we're in these touch classes, and people are like, why is James spending 3 minutes micromanaging my handshake, right? He's obviously got some weird thing about handshakes. No, it's that I know that women are registering with a man, like, to most women, all men are just average, and there's nothing special about them actually, because they've had that proven to them over and over again. Even if the guy actually is awesome and special, he doesn't know how to communicate that. And she's had many times where a guy's held her hand and gripped her or kissed her badly or like touched her on the lower back, and she knows that means he doesn't know what he's doing. That means my body is not going to feel good in his arms, so there's no point in me spending any time with this man. Because I can get another guy who can have conversations. I can meet another guy who's got a job. I can meet another one who can ask me questions or whatever. But the guy that knows how to touch me and make me melt is rare, right? So the takeaway, may or may not be, I don't know what's happening on your dates, the quality of touch. what the mindset behind it, which is thinking like, oh, I need to escalate and do a step. And now I did a bit of escalate. Now I should do a bit more because that will raise the something. And that will mean that eventually she'll get horny or something, right? It's not really the way to look at it. We want to look at it like that it's natural for me to touch her. That's the way I am, right? Because I didn't used to be like that. I was the sit there and talk guy and then eventually try and kiss guy, right? And that would sometimes, eventually work. But I had to train myself to reach out and just start putting a hand on the leg and making a point and then putting the hand on the lower back and holding her and checking her out and spinning her around, like all that stuff, to the point where now I do that every time. And yes, sometimes I get resistance, right? So sometimes I go in and I give a girl a hug and she gives me like, well, actually, this is what I do with that. Give me a stiff, weird hug. I'm like, hey, great to see you. Come here. Wrap your arms around me. Yeah, relax. Oh, that's nice. There you go. Right, so I've done that many times where a girl's going to go, oh, and I say, chill, relax, yeah, and I teach her how to have a hug. And then she melts and she goes, feels amazing, and then I let her go and say, let's go for a little walk. She probably wants more of that, right? I give her a little bit of, because I'm not escalating on her, I'm giving her good physical sensations. Think of it like that. If the physical sensations aren't good, then the escalation's pointless. Does that make sense? Now, we don't always know, we'll make mistakes. Sometimes I touched a girl perfectly, but she does, freak out or she resists in some way.
Because I think they were maybe repressed sexually or not used to touch.
Don't assume that, because no, like unexpressed sexuality maybe, right? Like I've also had many times where a girl seems to be frigid, like is like nervous and doesn't respond to the touch or whatever, but I'm cool about it and I lead her into the bedroom and sooner or later, and then she's a freak in bed. She's awesome in bed once she's relaxed and she's out of the like I'm being a nice girl that's pretty or something, or I feel I'm nervous or I'm not used to a man touching me so early, right? Because a lot of women who don't, like let's say if they're not girls who commonly hook up in clubs, what is their dating experience like? It's like that they ended up hooking up with guys at a party that they already knew for weeks or months or years, right? They've gone on a bunch of dates with a guy who escalated slowly, right? Or they were wasted one night and made out with a guy or fucked a guy in states where they were like out of their normal state. That might be all, right? So in her life experience, even though she may have had, a few boyfriends and some hookups or whatever, she may not have had much experience with a fairly normal guy asking her out and then on the same day, like touching and moving without being like grabby and like in a way where there's something obvious that's wrong, but just suddenly there's these physical things happening for her timescale really rapidly, then she doesn't know what to do, or she backs off, or she thinks she gets in her head, or all sorts of other things. That doesn't mean she has repressed sexuality, it's just she's not used to that scenario, for example, right? So I always view it like, it's my job to make her physically comfortable. It's my job to give her pleasant physical sensations, and it's also my job to back that off and read when there's no point. In fact, it's detrimental. She's not enjoying it, and I'm trying to force it to escalate, right? Then there's no point. Right now, I'm offering some free coaching spots to gentlemen out there who want to go beyond the theoretical and into the practical application of becoming an expert seducer and lovely bad boy. So if you'd like to take advantage of this free call, all you need to do is click the link below, book in a time with you and Alex, and he'll be happy to help you out in your current situation, creating a roadmap and some strategies for you to get started or get moving in your dating life for 2024. And now back to the video. Okay, having said that, especially if you're kind of not used to going on lots of dates, you do want to make yourself try and kiss the girl before the end of the date. Right, so the classic, get to the doorstep and then lean in for the kiss. I've done it. It's not very sexy or fun because it's predictable, and it's like I get a reward at the end of the date for like I did all the date and now I get my kiss, right? And that sets up the frame that I'm not the wild adventurer lover guy in her life. I'm the guy she went on a predictable, normal, polite date, and I gave him a kiss at the end because the same girl. I know this because I've been both guys and I've talked to many girls about this. The same girl will go on that date and kiss the guy on the cheek and then will fuck a guy in an alley and, have his jizz all over her face the same week, right? And will operate completely differently. Not every girl every week will operate completely differently based on the way the man set the frame. and the way also the way that he thinks about her, right? If it's the nice guy who's dateable, which many of you guys are, right? Sorry, nice guys who are dateable. Often a woman will pretend that she's not wild and crazy and horny and going to be up for fucking dirty, nasty things because she doesn't think you could handle that truth. And so therefore she'll show that other particular side of herself or that pretend side of herself where she's a nice girl who goes on a date and goes, oh, no, just on a cheek. Meanwhile, the next day she's like, glog, 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 because that guy gets it. And so he gets it. Yeah, I've had those things before where I'm fucking a girl and I ask her like, how's your dating life going? She's, oh, I'm seeing this guy who I really like. And, I was like, oh, cool, how's the sex? She's like, oh, I haven't had sex with him yet. I'm like, what? Why not? Oh, because I don't want him to think I'm a slut. I'm like, but you fucked me within 5 minutes. She's like, yeah, I don't care that you know I'm a slut. I'm like, oh, it's much better being this guy. Yeah, because she thinks that guy would judge her harshly if they fuck, so she doesn't fuck him until 5 dates down the road. Right? Meanwhile, she's getting her action from me or variations. And I'm just giving anecdotes. I'm not saying all women do all this stuff all the time, but another thing to think of, and I'll wrap up on the dates now with this. What archetype are you presenting on your dates? Right? What male possibility? Because there are all sorts of male possibilities that can work. Right? So think of them, like create some little avatars. We've kind of hinted at them. So she's going on a date. She meets what kind of guy? What kind of dateable? Yeah, and what's good? And what's good about that? Reliable. Predictable. I love that guy. What else? What else is good about it? Because girls do that. They will go on those dates.
Maybe they get free food, free something. It's safe.
Might get free. Yeah, it's safe. Some free stuff. Okay. Maybe she'll feel like a lady. It's a polite thing. It's a nice thing. Nice things are nice. People like nice things, I guess. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fine. Now, what's the problems or bad things about that? Yeah, for her. Let's say what's missing in that archetype for her?
Boring.
Can be boring because predictable things become boring. Yes. What did you say? Yeah. Right, because all humans are addicted to emotions, and young, pretty women are very addicted to emotions. It's that's their crack, right? And they can get lots of them. They can get all sorts of, and some of them are cheap and swipes and likes and cheap dopamine hits, and others are scintillating and fascinating and rare. And if you cannot provide any of those to her, then okay, it's not as interesting as the guy that can. All right. What else sexually? When does foreplay start?
As soon as you meet her.
The look that we're supposed to give on a date, I would say that would probably be...
That is the moment.
I want you. That would probably be to start with.
Yeah, I'll give both those answers, I would say. The obvious, the answer which a normal person might say is like, well, when you start kissing her on the couch, right? No. You want to think of your date all as foreplay. It's not all sexual, right? It's play, it's before, it's excitement, it's emotions, it's expectation, it's a little look, it's mystery, right? It's feeling relaxed and at ease. These things are all parts of foreplay, right? Because, not to brag, but to brag, pretty much every time I finally touch a woman's pussy, it's dripping wet, right? Because of all the non-touching foreplay that happened beforehand, right? So the nice guy sitting on the predictable date doesn't get the woman wet on the date, or doesn't make her, she's not thinking about sex. There's going to have to be some conscious transition or an acceptance that, okay, we're glitching now into the touching part of it. And a woman may well do that if she likes the guy and she's invested in it, or she's inexperienced, or she's just like, okay, just one of those dates, but I'll give him a shot. Women do those kinds of things, but they also often don't, right? Who's had a number of dates which didn't end up in a second date in their life? Oh boy, hi, me, baby. Right. For me at this point, it's very rare. It's like if I get her on one date, even if we don't sleep together on the first date, we will on the second. I'll check the percentages, but it's extremely high, right? Because I know what to do on the first date, Yeah, I know that, and it's simple shit. Look her in the eyes and zap her with the sex eyes. You know, reach across and touch her sometimes. Don't, like after, when you feel like the momentum's dropped, get up and move, right? We've been at the coffee shop for 45 minutes and then there's this like, there's not much happening. Let's take a walk. Just creating movement creates a new episode, right? It's the like, we're locked in for 2 hours and now I'm trying to keep talking more and keep talking more. This is not helping us anymore. We're losing, losing attraction, or it's losing its polarity. Right, so I know that, okay, cool, it's time to move this thing on. We take a walk, I put my arm around it for a moment here, and then, in an unexpected moment, I pull her in and I go to kiss her. Maybe she turns her head, but she doesn't do it in the bad way, which is this one. That's the like, whoa, I didn't want any kissing. She does it in this way, turns her head away and redirects. That's awesome. That means not right now, or I wasn't ready for it. Or sometimes I've known girls who do that deliberately. They reject the first kiss attempt to see what she'll do, which I think is fair. Not that many, but I've known some.
I think I had some girls doing this. Like, I tried to go for a kiss. For example, we are on a bench, like we are hugging, and I'm going close, trying to kiss her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Kissing you." She's okay, and we kiss then.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, girls can have all sorts of responses, and a lot of the times it's not a game. It's just she doesn't know what to do, especially if she's young and not that experienced again with this kind of like this kind of rapid escalation that didn't involve alcohol or drugs or some like high state thing where she's in an elevated state at a festival or something and she makes out with a guy. The same girl can be on a date next week and be like, oh, what are you doing? Right? She's not playing games. It's just that in that emotional state, it's overwhelming for her. Right? Many times guys will make the mistake of thinking, oh, well, what? I just bought her a drink, or, obviously I'm kissing you because we're on a date. Anything internally reactive like that will make her unattracted and make her maybe scared, right? I love it when a girl does that because I know what that gives me a moment to build. Like, I lean to kiss, she turns her head, I'll just hold it there for a moment, maybe even breathe on her neck, come back out, give her a cheeky smile, and then change the topic. She'll kiss me next time. Because I've shown her that when I don't get what I want, I'm so chill, I'm cool. And I went for what I want, I went for it, but I have control here, right? That allows her to relax into it and go, wow, this is that rare type of man who will pull the trigger and is also not pushy. So our other type of archetype of the guy to be on a date with is what? So we had the nice, pleasant guy.
Romantic pirate.
Romantic sex pirate. Yes, exactly. The romantic sex pirate, pretty much that. That is the one, yes. Or the vampire, or basically the lover. What? Or a werewolf. Girls like werewolves. I dressed up as a werewolf once and chased a woman through the fields at full moon because that's what she requested. It was fun.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was great. It's a great idea, and I'm glad I did it. Yeah. So yes, every romance novel, every fucking Twilight thing or whatever, there's always an archetype of the wild, untamed man, right? Now, he can still be, like James Bond is that as well, right? Like, he's untameable to a woman. Although he's elegant, refined, wears a suit and whatever, and drives nice Aston Martins, it doesn't necessarily mean, an actual pirate or a biker or something, right? Although when we look at, like, female fantasy archetypes, they tend to be the bad boy that's untameable, of various types. The one in a suit, the one in a leather jacket, the one, with a cutlass, whatever it is. But that's extraordinarily attractive to women in general, right? Because why? What is the elements of that man that make it, like, what does she get out of being with that type of man? Excitement of war, yeah, okay, of what type? Anyone?
She never knows what's happening.
Yeah, there's an unpredictability about it, because most men in relation to women are extremely predictable. Like, she knows if she bats her eyelids, he'll go, She knows that if she wants something, she can probably just simply manipulate him to get it. Yeah, she knows that if he's asking this kind of question about what she studies and if she likes it, she knows that even if you are some other aspects, she doesn't see them. She knows that, okay, this is one of those uncle conversations. And, I'll just answer I'm studying this and I'm going to do this. But you know what I really like doing? Fucking sucking dick and fucking doing wild shit, but you'll never know that because you're being polite and asking me this kind of stuff. There's a sense that the man really does want her but doesn't need her, right? Some guys make the mistake of thinking, you know, nice guys who transition to trying to be bad boys think that what that means is like, I need to project, I don't need you, I don't care, right? Or which unless you have a very high social status doesn't work and is unattractive, right? I definitely want you, I'm hungry for you, but also I don't need you. You know, and that's far more validating for a woman. Why? Than the guy that gives across the grand gestures in the sense of like, I really do need you.
Because those are a lot, and those guys, those nice guys, that she can find them everywhere.
Yeah.
And maybe it's way more difficult to find somebody who doesn't necessarily need her. Yes, there's less and more of different types of guys, but it's more about what does it make her feel like. Like, if I choose to be with, as the woman, I choose to be with a guy who thinks I'm a princess and will do everything for me, and knows he can't do any better than me, that doesn't make me as a woman feel particularly sexy or actually like I'm a queen, right? Whereas, like, you see almost every romantic comedy follows a very similar pattern of an untameable bad boy that's eventually tamed, right? So this is female pornography, right? Like, this is a fantasy of having a guy that has lots of choice, but chooses her. And then in the movie, usually he's tamed and put in a box and married, right? So the reason why that's, you know, appealing is, yes, people want what is difficult to get, you know, the things that are valuable and rare, right? But it's more to do with the fact that it means to her that she's really sexy and valuable. I got the prize, right? As opposed to I'm the prize and guys are lining up to try and get me, and maybe I'll end up with this good boyfriend material guy because I feel like having a boyfriend now, but I don't really respect him and I'm not super attracted to him, and I know that he's way more into me than I am to him, and I know that, you know, if we broke up today, he'd be fucked and I'd be fine, right? All of that just doesn't turn her on as much, or at all. So it's not that you need to become a bad boy in the sense you need to be nasty and rude and aloof and don't give a shit about anything and take drugs and, you know, ride a motorbike or whatever. None of that would hurt. You don't have to do it. It's that, like, you know, when women are with me, it's very clear that I very clear how much I want her. Like, it's like I want to consume her soul. That's how much I want her. But I'm also not willing to put up with shitty behavior. I'm not going to chase and, you know, put in massive amounts of effort if she's not going to put effort back in, right? And if a woman does put in lots of effort, I will put in lots of effort. You know, I will match her, or I'll lead it, and I certainly put a lot of effort in with women, a lot more than most people do. But in a way where it's like, yeah, I want you, and you've earned my time, you've earned my investment. Then yeah, you'll get a high definition version of a male. And if you're going to play games or waste my time or whatever else, I'm not going to be reactive or particularly rude about it or anything. I'm just going to cut you off, right? Or I'm just going to withdraw my attention. Right? That's powerfully sexy because that's the opposite flip of the way the usual power dynamic happens between men and women. Very beautiful women never get to experience the gift of wanting and not knowing if they're going to get, of chasing a man, right? Of actually of objectifying him. They almost never get to experience that, right? So if you can give them that gift, like they get to experience, you know, aspects of the feminine which are really, really powerful. Proving that they are sexy, that they are the queen. Getting the guy that's not that easy to get. You know, trying to play games with him and realizing that he knows my games. And therefore, he's actually in control. Therefore, I get to be with an actually dominant male. Right? We've all heard the idea that women like men who are dominant. That doesn't mean that they are forceful or trying to exert power over every person. Sometimes, you know, that exists, and some women find that kind of dirty power attractive. But it's that he can handle her is really what real dominance is. Yeah. Okay. Stuff to think about. Gives you better ideas for what dates should look like. Yeah. Keep it fun, keep it moving, keep it simple, touch. If something's getting stale, get up and move. If it feels like it's winding down, like, again, after about an hour or so, hour and a half-ish or whatever, I make a request. Either I know that nothing's going to happen because of the logistics. We're having a 30-minute coffee date in between classes or something, in which case I'll be the one to end it. All right, well, you got to get to class and I got to get to going and sitting on my bed or whatever. I'll take her wherever it is to go, or take her to the separation point. Maybe I hold her in and then I just give her a longish kiss on the cheek, and I don't even go for a kiss, because I know that right now trying to make out with her at 12:30 in the middle of the day when we've just had a 20-minute rapport, that's a bit too eager. So I might just give her a nice long hug, look at her like I was going to kiss her, and then let her go. Right? That's fucking what a boss does. That's what a man who has options does. She wants to be one of those options, or she wants to be the option, ideally, much more likely, if that's the way I handle things. Yeah? Or an evening or a date where there is the possibilities for that, of the logistics, then I offer. How do I do that? If I'm in a bar or wherever, having the date, and we've got good eye contact, I've touched her, she's either reciprocated or she's like melted into the touch, she's accepting it and it looks like she likes it, or she's reciprocating it. Usually, after we've had one drink or one something, I say, do you want to go? Or do you want to get out of here? Or let's go, right? Let's get out of here. And if she says yes, that means she's coming home with me. She goes, okay, because the implication is, let's get out of here to my place. Now, I certainly have had it where I've said, let's get out of here, and she just said yes, and then we go to the house, she said, oh, where are we? Or, and I say, we're at my place, do you want to come up? Right, so she might put up resistance at these points, okay, but mostly not. Now, if I'm on a date where it's not so clear, like the girl's shy or I just don't know about that, then I might use a plausible deniability excuse. The excuse is not so that she was tricked, the excuse is for her, to herself. Do you want to have a cup of tea at my place before you go home? You want to come up for a drink before you go home is a good one, right? Because very often a woman doesn't want to commit before she went in the house to having sex. And that's where the danger of going home with a man comes in, right? She knows that men can be polite and nice, and then you get them home and they rape them, right? Or they're pushy, or they're aggressive, or they're reactive, or they get in a mood if they don't get what they want. Like, most women have had one of those experiences, right? And so it's dangerous to go upstairs with a guy, to go into a stranger's house as a woman that's smaller than the guy. It also can be like, I do want to spend time with him, but I'm not sure if I want to have sex with him. And that's very common, right? So with me saying, do you want to come up for a while, or let's hang out at my place before you go home, or I'll get you a taxi soon. Like, if I know that she lives out in the suburbs, she's a student, she can't afford to, like, she's thinking about when does the metro end, then I'll say, oh, why don't you come up, I'll get you a cab home later. And I always do. I always make sure that, a girl gets to where she needs to go safely. If that's the day, it might mean walking downstairs and saying goodbye, or, walking into the train station or something. In the evening, I always make sure she's in a vehicle going home, right? So those kinds of things alleviate the fear of like, oh, I want to be upstairs cuddling and kissing, but all the other stuff I don't know. So I better say no, right? I make it easy on her to say yes, because she can, and definitely, absolutely can, bail at any point. We can come up, have a cup of tea, and then I've had it many times. The girl says, all right, well, I should go now. I say, cool, all right. Or, more common, I've had the girl saying, oh, I should probably leave soon. I said, leave whenever you want. And then they stay. All right, because I've given her, like, she's like, just letting you know that I don't know if I'm going to do this. And I'm like, yeah, cool. So chill for a bit or not. And then she's like, well, and I remember one in Barcelona recently. She said 3 times she was leaving. I said, okay, cool. And I was like, all right. And then she's like, didn't. And then, just so you know, I'm leaving. Okay, cool. Do you want to go? No? Okay, cool. Don't leave. All right, so that's not her deliberately fucking cunt. What was I saying before I started swearing like an Australian? Right. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, like, to make that request to a girl where it's not clear that it's on, then yeah, I'll give her a reason. I'll give her like an out or an excuse, right? When I used to have Vince the lizard at my house, sometimes I'd talk about Vince, and then I'd say, do you want to come and see Vince? And Vince helped me get laid a bunch of times. These girls came upstairs and went, ew, and then all went, cool. And then I'm like, thanks, lizard. Vince helped you as well? Yeah, he was great. We should get him back as our wing lizard. Now, like, that wasn't a trick, because if I'd been like, the problem happens when the guy is doing only nice guy stuff and then uses some excuse to get her home. Like, oh, I'm into that band too. I've got a record from the 1973 pressing of that. Let's go and listen to it. Or some excuse, and then the girl finds herself in a location, doesn't know it's a date, doesn't know that the guy's about to hit on her, and then he suddenly jumps on her, right? We're not talking about that. Doing all the good stuff, the intent, the making, compliments, the touching, the stuff that lets her know, yeah, we're definitely on a date, and then I'm just making it easy on you to say yes. You can go home at any time is the feel, which is true. You absolutely can. And I've had many times where a girl has decided to leave before sex, and then the next time she comes straight over because she was in my house, she felt comfortable, she put her boundary up, I said no worries, I wasn't reactive, I got her home safe, right? And then she's like in the taxi going, fuck, I should go back, right? And then when I text her 2 days later, I say, hey, I just finished work, I've had a long day, do you want to come and chill in my place? She goes, yep. All right? That all helping?
Yes. So you talked about what to do if you're already there and she says, I want to leave. What do you do if you ask, do you want to go get a nightcap, whatever you say, and she says, I don't know?
Oh, okay, the I don't know. Then I say, all right, well, just come up for a bit, and then whenever you want, head home, I'll get you a taxi home. So the I don't know means make the decision for me, really. And I might say that, and then she'll say, oh, no, I shouldn't. And you say, okay, that's cool. Right, so yes, the indecision of like same when you ask for a girl's number and she says, maybe, that's, we're hovering on the edge of a yes and a no, and she needs you to help her make the decision. Right, so you say, all right, well, let's just exchange contacts and I'll text you, and if you don't want to reply, no problem. Okay. Right, that turned the maybes like, I can't make this bit of the decision right now. All right, well, I'll just make it for you, and then you can decide whether or not you liked my decision. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Now, if you'd like to learn how to become a bad boy who is also a fine gentleman, knows how to treat a lady right and get treated right, then you should consider joining myself and the TNL team for our upcoming 4-day residential workshop in Budapest, Hungary, from the 27th until the 30th of April. There's just a couple of spots left on that. Myself and the team will be taking you around the streets with many, many hours infield on the mics, practicing cold approach, getting fine-tuned and unique feedback to your current needs, plus all the extra classes with role-playing, touch escalation, conversation, theory classes, inner game, and so much more. This is the world's greatest school for men who want to become kick-ass at dating. So if you'd like to join us, click the link below, get on a free call with us where you can get some coaching from Alex, chat about your current situation, get some feedback and a roadmap for success. And if you'd like to, join us for the adventure of a lifetime. And if not, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.